Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jessica. Yay, finally, right? So I've been trying to launch this channel for about 7 to 10 years when I started following my first YouTuber. Finally, I feel like I am ready to start this journey with you guys. So I did go ahead and do a poll on my Instagram on what should my first video be. Should it be, like a product review, or should it be why I started my journey into organic, non-toxic, all natural and healthy living? Most of you, I want to say like 80% of you wanted why I started my journey, which I think is awesome because you should know why I started my journey. There are basically two reasons why I started this journey. First reason was at a very young age, a lot of people call it young, at around 2021, I was ready to become a mom and excited to try, and the excitement and the fears and the worries that come along with it. I tried for numerous years. I would not conceive. So I did a little more digging and I did do several doctor's appointments to see why wasn't I conceiving. They went ahead and diagnosed me with PCOS, and then they thought that also I had endometriosis. I did a little more research on what it was, why, how do you get it, all the reasons as to why. Out of someone who's particularly healthy, who I like to think I was healthy, why do I have this? You know what I mean? They told me, with treatments, with medications, possible IVF. They also told me about a medication called metformin, all these other medications that I just was like, but why? Like the why didn't set in with me. I'm a bookworm, I'm a researcher, and I like to know why. If I have a headache, why? If I have a stomach ache, why? Like what caused it? So then I don't have to, I can watch out for these things and not feel it anymore, right? I mean, you would think that's the logical. Then I went ahead and went on this journey as to researching on my own, how can I better it? I found a lot of information about diet, how your hormones play a very big role in conceiving and being infertile. And it just evolved from there. Several years later, while I was researching on that, I wasn't feeling too good, so I went for another checkup. Sadly to say, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. That's when I hit the brake. That's where it hit me hard, because I consider myself a very healthy person, you know what I mean? Or if you want to put it, normal to healthy person. And I've always had a normal lifestyle, which we consider normal, and I couldn't conceive. And now all of a sudden I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Something was off. So when I asked, because clearly I'm going to ask the why, how could this be? I'm so young, you know what I mean? They meaning the doctors, explained to me that there's several factors and they don't know quite how people get these autoimmune diseases, these PCOS, these infertility, endometriosis. And I couldn't accept that from someone whose profession is to learn why humans get sick or why things happens to humans and how to help humans, for instance me, how to better it, how to cure it, how to help it. You know what I'm saying? After I was diagnosed by a primary doctor, I went on a journey to find a really good endocrinologist, if I can speak, who then did all the tests. They like to do their own tests just to make sure that before we go forward that I do have an autoimmune disease. So I went ahead, did all the blood work again, and it was conclusive that I had an autoimmune disease. I asked her, why, how, what can I do? Is it curable? For those of you who don't know or do know, an autoimmune disease, as per doctors, there is no cure for an autoimmune disease. You can live with it and learn how to work around it, whether they say it's with medication, diet, your lifestyle. You can live, your whole life with an autoimmune disease. So I kept asking her, which she seemed very annoyed after a while, why? And she kept saying, well, I just told you why, you know, these things happen. All this environmental stuff, you know, play a role, your genetics, your genes. She kept just going back and forth with 2 or 3 answers that just, it didn't sit right with me. So the annoying researcher slash bookwormer that I am, I went ahead and I did my research. So I kept, you know, researching and wanting to know why me, like how did I allow this to happen to me at such a young age? I was looking up, you know, infertility. I was looking up autoimmune disease, and they all had in common your diet. There was a lot of your choices. So I took a step back, and naturally I wanted to blame, you know, the companies. I wanted to blame life. I wanted to blame everyone but myself. But the truth is, because I was uneducated in certain topics, I went ahead and lived a lifestyle that my body did not agree with. Therefore, this is why I have what I have. So a lot of people ask me, because I do a lot of Instagram stories, Jess, what got you started? You make it look so easy. How did you come about it? And the truth is, I started because I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and because I was infertility. I couldn't have children, so I couldn't conceive, and that to me was the hardest hit. The scarier one was the autoimmune disease, but the one that got to my heart, the one that got to my soul, was when they told me that there was a possibility for me never to be a mom. That was unacceptable to me. So I took accountability, one, for my lifestyle, for my actions, for my choices. I took responsibility that if I would have known this information, I would have done better and different choices. Sometimes we can't control how we're raised or how we grew up, but we can control what we do with our time after we become adults. We can either furthermore educate ourselves. Now we have social media, which I think is amazing for this, because if it wasn't for social media, I don't think, you know, that I would have been so informative, and we can get out there and tell you guys and help one another, you know what I mean? And third of all, I had to grow up. I had to say, you know what, the going out, the expensive shoes, which by the way I still love, that's not gonna come first. What's gonna come first is my health, my lifestyle, and then that's where it grew. I had to be better. I had to get better. I had to prove that if you make the correct choices that we were always meant to know and make, then your body will heal itself. It can go back to the way that it was and it's meant to be. We are an amazing creature, machine, whatever you want to call us. We are an amazing entity that we were made to cure ourselves. Now, given the correct environment, we will thrive at our optimal health. That's why I started. I couldn't accept that I wasn't gonna be a mom. I couldn't accept that because of my unawareness and lack of information, I was gonna live or die from an autoimmune disease. So I took matters into my own hands, and that's where Purely with Jessica was born, because I don't want you guys or anyone to ever go through what me or most or a lot of us are going through in our generation. A lot of us are sick. There's just so many diseases that are living within us because of the choices, of the foods, of the environment. And if I can take accountability and responsibility for what I can change, just your life in general will thrive. You know what I mean? Your health. And I am happy to now tell you that I am a mother to a 2-year-old boy, naturally. I did not take metformin or any other of those medications that they told me that I would have to take in order to conceive. I didn't do the IVF, and although I'm thankful for all these things that do exist and all these medications that do help us thrive and become better and get healthier, if there's a natural way to do so and safely so, then do so. And that's what I did. I went ahead and I did it the natural way. I stripped my entire existence. I had to unlearn what I knew to learn what I needed to know. And that's what all of us needs to do. I'm very thankful where I am today because I have what I've always wanted. It took a lot of work to get here. Now I know all these things and all this information and all this knowledge and all this awareness that now I want to pour out to the world. So another Jessica or another, you know, XYZ of your partner, and you can become parents naturally. and can learn to overcome and have a better lifestyle with your autoimmune disease. You know what I'm saying? Nothing bad can live within you if you give it a healthy environment. Nothing bad can thrive there. And I mean that internally, I mean that externally, across the board. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can learn the tips and tricks that I have learned along this long journey from the age of 20. Now I am a little older than that, so we can go through this journey together and you can learn all the things I've learned. I'm super excited because I've seen too many and so many of us go through all these illnesses and sicknesses and have no sense of how to make them better. This is exciting, a bit nerve-wracking, but here we go, and here we go together.